First rule of Gratitude Gang. Tell everybody about Gratitude Gang. Looks like these little boxes finally showed up. So good to put little stuff in there. Also, the other supplies. I think I ordered some of that. I mentioned this before. I ordered some of that colored filament that I had gotten before in a pinch, because like some of the small things that I make, you don't really want to paint them. I mean, some of them you can, but it's just, do I really want to go through the process of painting a thing that's this big? Just make it in the color it's supposed to be. Ain't that the way they say it goes? I was just talking on Discord. We have a channel on the Discord where you can show your new products if you have a shop or something like that. Honestly, it's kind of worth joining the Discord, even if you're not somebody with a shop, because there's a lot of people that make cool things and are putting them up for sale and stuff. It's worth checking out. Also, I just wanted to say, it's pretty incredible. I sold 7 of those dragon STLs, the horror dragon that was featured in the last episode. I'm realizing that this has actually got, like, that just by itself is very cool, but this is gonna have a really, it's gonna have a really useful purpose beyond that, which is I can instantly see what products people sort of like more and not. Because to give anyone that doesn't know, like when you make a new product, like let's say when I made these octopus things, you put it up there and maybe in a few weeks or something you sell one, and the octopus is sold consistently. It's actually a pretty good one, but I didn't sell it. It probably took at least a week before somebody actually bought one of these, because on Etsy people save them to their lists and they have this whole thing they do. But the downloads are instant. So if you put a design up for download and then like overnight a bunch of people buy that thing, it kind of tells you people like that design, right? So that's, though that seems like not a big deal, it actually really is, because I can just instantly see what people are like into, what people are responding to, and maybe make more of those things. So if you have a 3D printing shop and you feel like putting your STLs, whatever format you use, up for sale, it occurs to me there is an advantage to doing that. It's like instant feedback, you know? Got a bunch of supplies. Yup. I've been wanting silver markers for a long time, for a little touch up here and there, or doing eyes and things. And we got a bunch more of the stuff for bubble wrap. Wait a second. What does this mean? Okay, it's all reflecty. This trophy means that your design has been featured either in the best designs category or the popular STL files category or in a top collection. Interesting. Like, I've downloaded stuff from Cults 3D before, but I don't really know, I don't spend time on the website. Does anybody know what a best designs category or popular STL files, like, I guess that's being featured in something? Whatever it is, I guess it must be good. So that's cool. Honestly, I bet it's just the crazy thumbnails. I mean, that's why I do this. I've said that before early on, but just to reiterate, I don't wear this kind of stuff. The reason I go to thrift stores is to find the most ridiculous clothes possible, because it's what people click on. It's like, as long as you're willing to not have any dignity, you can have sales. I think this would be 2 more of those things. Oh no, apparently this is the box of filament. Yeah. Yeah, this stuff is pretty cheap. I don't really buy filament most of the time, of course, but I mean, I can get colorant and just make a whole bunch of red and make a whole bunch of blue, but this stuff is cheap enough that's like, I'll just buy that, you know. For the small things, it's just a very convenient way to do it, and I'm doing okay, so it's like, screw it, why not? We'll just tuck this guy up here. Okay, this must be the air bubble stuff, and it is. Yup, I ordered 4 of these bad boys. Had no idea how much bubble wrap I might need, so we're just stocking the F up. Well, with all that out the way, let's do that morning roundup. We'll start off with something interesting. This is Sarah Connor. Interestingly, Sarah Connor, in real life, Linda Hamilton, lives in New Orleans, and I know somebody who is like her neighbor. So I wish this was printed already. I'd visualize it a little better, but he was trying to, like, you know, sometimes he was like walking his dog and she'd be walking his dog and they'd run into each other. He was trying to, like, he's followed what I've done for years, trying to like talk to her and be like, hey, could you, we want to send you a free thing. Could you maybe like snap a little photo with this thing? Basically, my buddy has seen the Chuck Norris deal, and we wanted to do a version with Linda Hamilton. But he kind of never ran into her or anything, so it didn't happen. But man, that would have been cool. Also, kids out there, if you haven't seen Terminator 2, like, just shut this off and go watch that. Like, you're missing it. Learn your history. Got the Octo. Got the guitar snake. This part is always like a bit of a trip. I hate it when this support comes loose, but it's actually the least important one, and we can make that work. I think this is the Gandalf from last time. I already made something here, but I forget what it was because I pulled it off. I'm not a young man. Made other part of guitar snake. Marcus Aurelius. I think this guy, maybe not this guy, but one of these is getting a stone finish, which is going to be really cool. Got David here, and we've got another Marcus right there. Actually, I have to think about it, but I think there's 2 stone finish Marcuses that are going to get done. People used to call me Marcus Aurelius all the time. I never knew who that was. Very, very cool. Maybe one of the coolest people in all of history, more or less, you know, with a couple of exceptions. I mean, think about it. Like, Marcus Aurelius, you get to conquer a bunch of stuff. You're famous in a totally separate thing as a philosopher. And plus, Richard Harris plays you in a pretty good Russell Crowe movie. I mean, that's a lot more than we bargained for in life. Making a D20. Obviously, I could just use the D20s we've got saved up, and I probably will because they're already made and we got to make stuff, but I don't want to really go through the D20 supply. I know there's going to be a lot of these sold. Got a can dispenser, and this is a raptor skull, which seems to be coming out okay. Probably be done in a couple of days. We're going to get all the things printing. Man, we painted a bunch of stuff yesterday. We're gonna package like all of that. So a thing just kind of occurred to me. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly today. And tell me if you don't like these rants. I'm here to like serve, you know. I feel like people probably get helped by these, but let me know. I was thinking today, like, I don't even want to say, a couple seconds ago, I was thinking, success isn't something that you eventually get. Success is something that you do today. Like what I mean by that, I was thinking about when I was a delivery driver at Jimmy John's, and something I used to do is I was trying to maximize the amount of tips I got. You know, playing within the rules we sort of had. And so what I did is, for anybody, most people probably haven't worked at Jimmy John's, they give you a set schedule, and once you have your schedule, that's your schedule forever. There isn't any like changing stuff around. Like if you work Friday night, you always work Friday night. And if you don't show up for Friday night, well, you get fired, obviously. I mean, maybe some places will give you some leniency if you had a really good excuse, but generally you're just getting fired for that. But anyway, the point is you have your shifts. If you have 35 hours of shifts, you're always going to have those 35 hours of shifts. But what you can do is you can trade shifts with people. And so what I used to do is I asked people how much they were earning at different times, and I figured out what the best shifts to work are. And most this is a job that they can barely keep people in, you know. They're like always hiring people, like pretty much any other casual dining place or something. So people are not passionate about this at all. But I decided I was going to treat my life as a business. I was still living in my car at this point. So what I used to do is I would negotiate for the best shifts. I would, like, not exactly statistically, but I would figure out what the best shifts were, and then I would make my schedule the absolute best schedule you could have at that Jimmy John's. And then I would do stuff like during really busy times, the managers and stuff don't know how to route orders. You know, routing meaning like, okay, take this to this street and there's another delivery that's kind of close to that, so take this other delivery with you. And when it's busy, like, you can kind of take anything you want within reason, but like Jimmy John's is expected to be fast. So if you take deliveries together that don't make sense, customers will complain. And so there's a whole art to this. Now, one of the stores I worked at was the busiest delivery store in the nation. Like #1, the UNC Charlotte store. There's probably somebody in the audience that knows what I'm talking about, because within Jimmy John's, it's actually kind of famous. It wasn't the main one I worked at, but I used to take shifts out there sometimes. And so like in a really busy environment, there's a lot of like leeway, but you also have to think. You know, you're not calculating this with GPS. You just know where these streets are, and you know about how fast it would be. And you know what's going to make people complain, so you like think about that and then do the intuitive math, so to speak. Anyway, the point is, I was treating my life like a business. And even though I was like completely broke living in my car. And so that's what I mean when I say success is something you do today. Because a lot of people would very justifiably look at my life and be like, you're not a success, okay? You're really, really not a success. I should also add, later on I started working at a pizza place, and I worked at Jimmy John's mostly during the day because that's when they're busy, and I worked at the pizza place at night because that's when people order pizza. So I did this with 2 jobs, not just one. It was a little different with the pizza place because they don't have a set schedule. I don't know, that stuff's not important. The point is, like, treat your life. If you want to be, you know, an entrepreneur, start today. Don't think about like what you need to do eventually to get started. Just start. Start today. Success is something you do today. And so like, I am somewhat successful. I'm not like I'm not like one of these Tai Lopez people flexing next to my like freaking Lamborghini or anything. But a lot of people do ask me for business advice, and I've been in business for 6 years. And it's really because I started where I was and started to just like, the day of salvation is at hand kind of thing. Like, if you want to get yourself out of what you got going on by being an entrepreneur, do it today. Like, there's not a thing that's gonna happen that will allow you to start today. And with that extremely motivational rant, we're about to go grab a bite to eat, because it was the 1st yesterday, and 1st and 15th are eating out days, and it's not quite busy enough that I have to skip that. So there's this like buffet place that opened up, and it's supposed to be like kind of a, I've only read a little bit about it, like one of those old country buffet type places. I don't know, I feel like we need to check this out. There we go. The Country Kettle Buffet. I feel like every small town has this. There's just always a spot in a plaza or like some building or something that like there's a new business there every year or every 6 months. This spot is that. For some reason, businesses just can't survive here. So it'd be cool if this one did, because, and the last one was actually really good. It was called Good Bites, and they had like hard to summarize menu. If I remember right, it was like Mexican food, but also they had some like Asian stuff. They had like these pork belly sandwiches, which were actually shockingly good. I don't know, maybe that's why they didn't succeed. Nobody could figure out what their thing is. Honestly, not bad. I don't think it knocked my socks off or anything, but it was all right. The meatloaf was pretty good. You know, when I was growing up in Indiana, there were Amish around and Mennonites, which people don't know as much about Mennonites. And so I kind of grew up with quite a bit of Amish cooking. Like there would be like little stores where you would get the noodles, and a lot of my family made recipes that were kind of influenced by Amish recipes. My grandma actually used to have this really old Amish cookbook, which was very cool. But all that made me realize Amish food is basically German food. If you've ever been to a German restaurant, Amish food is like that, except sort of more archaic, obviously. It's like clearly the era that they're from. And that restaurant was a little bit like that. It's like everything's in that brown gravy, and like it's just meat and potatoes and stuff like that. I think we're gonna skip the coffee today. I kind of drank a bunch this morning. I don't know what it is about these high protein foods, but I'm having like all kinds of weird, deep thoughts about things. I was thinking about some philosophers that I've read, and there's a very profound sense in which, like, I think it's very good to remember that what you are to other people is what you do, is like the actions and choices you make, the way you treat people and stuff like that, which sounds like that sounds like a real obvious thing to say, but people have all these ideas about like the way they think of themselves, their identity, all these kinds of things. It's not even like you shouldn't think about stuff like that, I guess, but to the vast majority of the planet, all you're ever going to be is like the actions you take and the choices you make. Like who you are to everybody but you is like the way you treat people, the reputation you have, the things you teach your kids, like the value you bring to your community if you have a job or something like that, or you do some kind of service or whatever it is. Like that's really what you are. And like all of that internal stuff, it's not like it's not important, but it's really about the choices you make and the stuff you do. I don't know, maybe that sounds really obvious, but it's just kind of an important thing to remember that, like, you know, it doesn't matter that much, like, how you think of yourself. It's like the stuff you do. I mean, maybe it's just I'm at a point in my life where I just don't care about, like, a lot of superficial things to some extent. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is there are people that are so concerned with, like, what are people going to think about this? What are people going to think about that? Like, and almost nobody cares. Like, the things people care about, like I said, are the actions you take and the impact you have on the world. And like almost everything else is just like, oh, okay, so you think of yourself as this or that, or you have this feeling about this thing. It's like a lot of that stuff just doesn't matter. I was trying to think of a really concrete example about what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to get at. Like, imagine you're like a mechanic. Like, when you go to a mechanic, the things you care about are like, well, are they gonna rip me off? You don't want that. And you want them to do a good job, and it's great if they're polite and seem like a decent person. Nobody thinks about like whether the mechanic feels like fulfilled in his life, or, you know, like all that sort of petty stuff. And so like if you're the mechanic, it's kind of good to realize that, because all of this self-focus and stuff can be so depressing. It's not that you should never think about that. I like being fulfilled and like all the things, but you know, at the end of the day, people appreciate you because you like treated them well and because you did something valuable and taught them things and were like honest, and like most of that internal stuff kind of doesn't matter. Well, we're back at the shop. We've imbibed some very mid-grade food and over-philosophized. You know what that means. Time to actually do some work. Silver Pug Boy. We don't sell a whole bunch of the silver ones, so that's kind of fun. Drumstick holders. Alligator skull. This is a Strat guitar hanger, meaning it's sized and shaped sort of to be perfect for Stratocasters. Not a huge item of mine, but it does sell periodically. Everyone gets a cupcake. Moai 2 came out real nice. Look at that stone finish. Gandalf. Italian hand. Hey! David Bowie. Bright fire engine red. Longtime viewers may remember that I've produced several of my D20s for people's weddings. And I've said a few times that they never send me pictures, but check this out. Apparently, I think this is in Wisconsin, they rolled this, had something to do with how they seated people or something, I don't really know. But yup, I'm sure you guys saw me package this very D20. And now, the whole world is seeing Saruman. A silver Saruman. T-Rex skull. Small. Oh yeah, this was an alligator skull. You can kind of see. So the wedding coordinator guy that bought the D20 sent me a video of the bride and groom unboxing on stage the D20. Again, this is one that you guys have seen me package at some point in the past. So I think I'm gonna try and clip out a little bit of it and put it in the video.
During dinner, we're gonna do something a little special. A lot of the weddings that you might have been to in the past, you're probably prone to seeing folks taking their silverware and clinking the glasses to get the couple to kiss, yeah? How many of you out there have seen that happen at a wedding before? Yeah? Okay, cool. So instead of doing that tonight, we're gonna do something a little different. As you may or may not know, these two are avid players of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? And they told me when we were meeting for their final meeting that they had this idea that they would like to incorporate their love for D&D by getting an oversized D20 dice to roll. And the idea being that if these two, if this dice rolls an 11 or a 20, or 11 to 20, somewhere in between, these two would have to kiss.
I apologize. I think the audio is like not incredible on that, but you can hear the people like cheering and stuff. It's just hilarious that a thing I made here is in front of a bunch of like well-dressed people, like, and it's like part of their little event. That's the kind of stuff that makes this job worthwhile. Psychedelic alien. I'm happy to say we're keeping up with orders pretty well. Today was, I mean, it's not over. Today is a big day of sales. Might get into the 4 figures, we're gonna see. Depends on, like, sometimes people will just order a whole bunch of sharks. I've had people order like 3 sharks and then your like daily total goes up like crazy. But I'm feeling pretty good about this Christmas season. It's probably not gonna be quite as panicky and dramatic as I was maybe thinking it would be, which, you know, I guess that's less sales, like, but there's only so much you can handle. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but things are looking pretty good so far. Having really prepared a lot is something that is going to help really a lot. Having like all the major things, having a bunch of the most popular items kind of made up ahead of time, plus all the filament and everything, it's making it less stressful than it's been in times past. This is probably the most prepared I've ever been for Christmas, debatably. Orange kitty cat. We're gonna do the eyes. Gently. There we go. Yeah, that's a good kitty. Little 4-inch hippo. Moai. Making a lot of bubble wrap today. Interesting. I, for the first time, am mailing something to Bermuda. A while back, I mentioned that I mailed something to the Canary Islands, I think it was. But I wish I could show you. But it's a gray stone finish Marcus Aurelius. And it would be pretty cool to, I guess this is pretty cool. Big Bronto boy, just got a couple more things to do. All right, we're wrapping up. And somebody left like the most unhinged comment I've ever read on on one of the videos. I was gonna read it, but we got to keep this thing positive. It was just incoherent. Somebody having a little mental health episode. So yeah, let's all just have a moment of silence for that person. Ugh. Okay. Ugh. What a Cyber Monday. Ugh. I think I'm gonna watch that VHS of Shawshank Redemption tonight. I need a little nostalgia right about now. On the last video, Flatline Bob writes, "Thankful for the Hoosier snow." That's a person from Indiana, by the way, in case you didn't know. Most of the state got some this weekend. Beautiful. Relentless 482 says they're getting back into the 3D printing game and getting back on Etsy. Very cool. Eric EW shared one of my favorite quotes. "Most people miss opportunity because it comes dressed in overalls and looks like work." Thomas Edison. Great minds think alike. I think the thing I'm most grateful for today is between the 2 designs I already put up on the Cults 3D, 13 people have downloaded them, which is just wild. It really is. It makes me realize it's going to be a whole thing, probably. It's really cool that you guys would support the channel like that. Yeah, if I can make it more of a thing, I can focus maybe more on making content and stuff. I'm trying to think about like what all I would do, but that's very cool. It's a very cool thing. Like I said, if you guys downloaded models and are printing them, join the Discord server and share them, and I'll try and make a montage or something out of it. I'm super wiped out, so it's going to be gratitude gang up time. You know the drill. In this gang, there are certain responsibilities. One of those responsibilities, tell me what you're grateful for. Tell me the small moments that make your life a little brighter, a little nicer, a little more pleasurable. Tell me about the projects you are working on, what you got going on, and anything else you want to tell me in the comments. Like I said, join the Discord, friend me on Facebook, and send me a message, and I will hook you up. We've got a bunch of people in there, and they're posting a lot of pretty good stuff. There's some good memes at this point as well, I should mention. But I'm grateful that you guys watch, and it's been a very cool ride these 4 months, something like that. Time really flies when you're having fun. Time's fun when you're catching flies. Peace out. See you next time.
Welcome to
Gratitude Gang.
baby. Only way out now is in a box.
In a box?
In a box.
Oh, in a box. Right.
Alright, come on, go.